Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Coffee with Craig. We're here on Hump Day. We're going to talk to you about a change in the law. Basically, we're going to talk about, obviously it's the new year. So we're going to talk about 10 things that every California gun owner should know for 2017. These are things, obviously, there's been a lot of changes, so it's important for you guys to know these things. And these are all part of a blog post that we actually have located at our website, firearmspolicy.org. I encourage you to go there and read them in detail. But we'll start with Proposition 63. Now, it's important to note that Proposition 63 became law November 9th, 2016. That's right. In the state constitution, propositions become law the day after they're passed. They become law the day after they're passed. So unless it specifically states in the legislation that it's not going to be implemented until a different date, implementation actually starts the day that is passed. Now, why is that important? It's important because there's a number of provisions of the law that actually deal with both the Gunpocalypse initiatives, Gunpocalypse bills, as well as the Proposition 63 initiatives. And one of the things that's really interesting, and this is where kind of the California Department of Justice is trying to stand on some of these, is that some of the provisions of Proposition 63 started November 9th and then were overwritten by some of the bills that actually become chaptered as of January 1. So it's important for us to note those things, well, because the law may be different from December 31st to January 1. I encourage you, we're actually following a lot of this stuff and tracking a lot of it in order to find out exactly what the law is going to be. And that's important to note because number two, 7 new gun bills or anti-gun bills have actually taken effect as of January 1. You have AB 1135 and SB 880, which are both basically ban bullet button firearms. You also have 1511. This is by Assemblyman Santiago, which basically makes it illegal to loan a firearm outside of your immediate family. You also have 1695, which makes it a nonviolent misdemeanor but it also a prohibiting offense for you to fail to report a firearm lost or stolen. Oh, no, I'm sorry. No, that's the one that actually not report lost or stolen. It makes it a failure if you falsely report a firearm lost or stolen. 1235, we all know what that one is. That's De Leon's ammunition registry and prohibiting you from being able to purchase ammunition online. 1446, that's the magazine confiscation. And 857, which is the serialization of home-built firearms or unserialized firearms. So those laws all took effect as of January 1. Now, in many cases, we still don't know exactly what those mean because we still don't have the regs which tell us how exactly they're going to be implemented. For all the things that require registries, we don't know exactly what those registries are going to look like, but we're eagerly awaiting the Department of Justice to finalize regulations on all of those and get them out so that we can tell you guys how to comply or not. Number 3, some sections of California's Byzantine gun controls laws might be even more confusing now. And that's important to understand is we're watching right now as the California Legislative Council is rewriting the penal code. And you will be surprised. No, you wouldn't be surprised. There are certain aspects of the penal code literally where they are writing the number of the penal code and then rewriting it. There are 2 different sections, 2 different segments where basically whoever's deciding to prosecute you or take you to court is going to be able to decide which one they want to prosecute you on. It is incredibly confusing what they are doing to the penal code and making it almost impossible, once again, for us to be able to comply. Then there's also by the way, any quote-unquote bullet button firearm. If you did not possess it, and I possess it, I mean have it in your possession by January 1, 2017, before then, it has been illegally acquired. So I'm sure that if you were purchasing it, whether it was PPT or however you were doing it, if you were purchasing it from a dealer, if you didn't pick it up on December 31st by midnight, You don't own it. You don't possess it. Sorry to tell you that. Um, Also important to note, at this point now, there are many unserialized firearms, basically 80% lower bills, that are eventually going to need to be serialized and registered. And then, by the way, once you register them and once you serialize them, you will not be able to transfer or sell them. Basically, you'll be able to own them. So if you have any of those, once again, you're going to have to register them. You're going to own them, but you're not going to be able to sell them or transfer them. The Department of Justice might and probably will push new regulations that go beyond their statutes. And we've already seen that. We've already seen the magazine regulations that they tried to push. And then we turn around and we've seen the proposed bullet button regulations that they're trying to propose. And in both cases, they overstepped what the legislature has the ability to do, or what the legislature passed. That's not going to be the end of it. And when it's all said and done, you can pretty much count on it being an overstep. Number 8, and this is one that I think is really important. There's no magic wand that is going to fix California's gun laws. It's going to take time. It's going to take money. And it's going to take some patience. It's going to take us working our way through the courts in order to make sure that this happens. And as you all know, as I've said on here many times, the court and legal process is not a quick process. Which leads me to number 9. We're going to have to keep fighting. Let's just be real. There are a ton of new legislators, and a number of them want to make their mark. There are a number of legislators who are in the California legislature who want to make their mark on this issue and have yet to do so. So you can count on them putting forth some legislation. They're going to have to do something, whether it's dealing with CCWs or whatever it might be. They've already kind of tipped their hat as to some of the things that they're going to be doing. They're still going to be coming after our gun rights, and they're not going to stop until every single California gun owner is disarmed. And those who don't choose to be disarmed, well, till they're in jail. So it's important that we keep up the fight, that we stay active until we're able to make whatever changes we need to make through the court system. And this is the number 10, and this is the most important. Know your rights. Look, when you're dealing with a situation, make sure, whether it's talking with the police or the Department of Justice, make sure you have an attorney, a firearms attorney. All right, it's important to know exactly, have people who are experienced and understand the law as it relates to firearms. Because trust me, you can't count on police officers to know the law. They got a lot of things that they're dealing with, but when it comes to knowing and understanding the details of the law, especially as quickly as they change, you can't count on it. You also can't count on prosecutors knowing the law, or the Department of Justice knowing the law. They believe, in many cases, they believe what they say is the law is in fact the law. You need to know your rights. And if you don't fully know your rights, you need to at least know this, that you have the right to an attorney. And make sure that attorney knows the law relating to firearms and relating to your rights. We have a list of who we would recommend as those attorneys. Once again, people who specialize in this area of law, both Northern California, Bay Area, as well as Southern California. So I want to encourage you to go to firearmspolicy.org. Just look for this blog post, 10 Things Every California Gun Owner Needs to Know, and it'll have a list of who those folks are. So anyway, that's it for 10 Things You Need to Know. Let's see if you guys have any particular input, anything you guys think California gun owners need to know. What do we got here? We have politicians don't care about courts. They will bully to get what they want. Actually, ultimately, though, what it comes down to is who's going to enforce the law. Politicians may pass the law, and they may not care that it's going to pass in court, but eventually, those who are supposed to enforce the law, they're going to do what the court tells them to do. If the court says this is legal and this is not, they're going to do what is legal. If they say this is constitutional and this is not, they're going to have to do what's constitutional. So that's why the courts matter. The legislature may pass unconstitutional laws, but for the most part, law enforcement is not going to enforce unconstitutional laws. or at least once they've been deemed officially unconstitutional. Giving up, sadly, California can fall into the ocean. I am planning my exodus. Let me tell you, Patrick, in case you haven't been watching, California's not the only place that this is happening. California was the testing ground. You look at Washington, you look at Oregon, you look at Nevada, New Mexico, Arizona. This is starting to happen other places. Let me tell you something. I just go with this philosophy. You can run, but you can't hide. If you don't stand and fight today, then your children are going to have to stand and fight. And me personally, I'd rather be able to stand here and fight for my home while I've still got the energy and the resources to do so. Just like magic wand would be the federal government stepping in order. Other than that, I don't know. Okay, federal government stepping in. All right. So first of all, you got to understand that the federal government once federal law is changed, you can bet that there's going to be legal challenges. You can bet that the state of California, if we don't have an attorney general and a governor who believe in the Second Amendment, you can bet that they're going to challenge any federal law that they believe usurps on their right to govern govern California. I'm not saying that I agree with them on that. I'm saying that you can bet and you can count on them to do that. Having said that, takes us right back to the court system, in particular the federal court system, making sure we have over 100 vacancies throughout the federal court system. I'm a big believer. Once again, I believe President-elect Trump needs to make sure that he appoints 100 judges in the first 100 days. Make sure that all of those seats get filled, including the Supreme Court. And as I've said before, the Supreme Court, we still need at least one more seat in order to make sure that a lot of these cases even get heard. So anyway, so that's kind of the magic wand is fighting, but it's going to be the court system where it's going to happen, because once again, they have a hard time getting past that whole "thou shalt not infringe" part of the Constitution. Frank, the irony is Obama, Feinstein, and other Dems have the gall to say we're not after our guns. Yeah, I've had members tell me, well, but I don't want to ban your guns. Why do you keep saying that we want to ban guns? I said, because you keep banning guns. Well, but I've never voted for. I said, well, you just voted for a bill you voted against a bill that would have fixed the roster in such a way that firearms that shouldn't be eliminated from the not unsafe handgun roster shouldn't be. Simply because, I don't know, they changed the grip. Well, but no but. The problem is that you keep wanting to ban guns. Period. So anyway, no, you're right. They say they don't want to ban guns, but they do. They're talking out of both sides of their mouth. The thing is that what they don't want to say is they don't want to say that we don't want to take away your rights, but what they also believe is the right to keep and bear arms isn't really a right, or at least it's not a right that they agree with. One more. Arizona doesn't have to have a permit to conceal carry. That's when I can guarantee. I know that right now they're spending money. The Everytown, Bloomberg, Moms Demand Action are spending money, polling, looking at Arizona residents to find out what are some of the things that they can get passed in Arizona. I'm not saying that they're going to be as successful in Arizona as they've been in California. I'm just telling you that they're on the ground and they've started working. And there are people in Oregon who thought that, well, we would never get they would never get background checks there, who thought that they would be able to withstand a number of the gun control measures. You just saw that question 1. Luckily, it was poorly written and thus struck down, but you saw that just narrowly passed in Nevada. Folks, I'm just telling you that it's not just happening in California. California didn't start off like this. And I'm just saying that it's important wherever you are to fight. The other thing that's important to note is that these legal cases, the good thing about these crazy bills being proposed is that at least we can fight it and we can take it to court and we can go to the Supreme Court and we can have it ruled once and for all so that folks can stop this stuff. So that they can come to know that, okay, this is the law. This is a constitutional right. Because once it's been passed at the federal level, once it's been deemed that it is a constitutional right, and these things violate those rights, well, then you're going to see a lot less instances of people trying to propose these laws that take away our rights. Anyway, that's it for today's Coffee with Craig. I want to thank each and every one of you for watching, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.
If you like these updates, please share them with your friends and subscribe to our YouTube channel.